politics. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Okay, all right. Here's this is Mike. This is our new Speaker of the House. This is Mike Johnson. This is his bio. This is who he is.
So the big question is, for a lot of people at least, who is Mike Johnson exactly?
Who the hell is he?
That's a fair question to some degree. He was elected to the House in 2016. He is a social conservative and has been that way since he was a lawyer before joining the state legislature in Louisiana and then becoming a member of the House. Argued, in fact, in front of the Supreme Court. Currently the vice chair of the House Republican Conference, used to be the chairman of the very powerful and sizable Republican Study Committee. But one of the issues that I think people may not recognize is the role he played in 2020 in terms of supporting Donald Trump's efforts to overturn Joe Biden's victory. In fact, it was a critical role. He was the one who actually drafted the House Republican legal brief signed by 126 Republicans that supported the Texas lawsuit to try and overturn the electoral results of 4 states. Not only did he ask members to play a role in it, he actually is the name on the amicus brief that was submitted. But it wasn't just the fact that he was a lawyer and had constitutional law background that made him want to get involved in this. He was an actual lobbyist from a personal email account of Mike Johnson, sending an email to every single member of the House Republican Conference, asking them to support the brief and also making very clear that Trump, quote, said he will be anxiously awaiting the final list of Republicans that signed on to review. It was something that infuriated some of the moderate Republicans at the time, but it was something that was very clearly driven by the former president. Back in December 9th, 2020, Trump making clear that he wanted intervention into and support of the Texas case. He also was talking to Mike Johnson. Johnson tweeting, Trump called him this morning, said that they were supportive of this, that this was the big one in terms of the Texas lawsuit. Obviously, it was not. It was thrown out by the Supreme Court. Trump did not officially throw his support behind Mike Johnson, but he did say he was supportive of Johnson, clearly not running against him like he did with Tom Emmer.
Meet the Speaker of the House, everybody. He's an election denier. He actually is a constitutional lawyer who lost the constitutional argument that he tried to make at the behest of the man who doesn't respect the Constitution, the man who would throw out the Constitution, the man who says only I alone can fix it. This is such a perverted, twisted party. And now all of a sudden they're going to pretend they can govern. You know, we only have, like 22 days before our bills don't get paid. I just to put a little, fire underneath the issue of the day, which is whether or not the government opens. It's been closed. It's been closed. The government shut down by another way, another means is what they've been doing, not, electing a Speaker of the House, right? So we haven't been able to legislate. We haven't been able to govern. We haven't been able to debate. We haven't been able to appropriate money. We haven't been able to pay our bills. We haven't been able to, do anything on the world events that are calling to us to be the indispensable nation, right? The Ukrainian situation and now the situation in Israel, Gaza. We're unable to even weigh in on any of those things, let alone weigh in on paying our bills or funding the FAA. So planes. Oh, did you hear that story about? You finally heard it? Okay.
Yes. Oh my God! It just kept.
So here's the story.
Like a flower, just so many. Oy.
Okay, so a couple days ago, there was a regional flight that was carrying a pilot to another flight in the region. I guess they were flying into Alaska, just a regional carrier. It was a subdivision of Alaska Airlines. And in the jump seat in the cockpit was one of the pilots that was being delivered to, his airport so he could continue to fly other places. He wasn't flying this flight. He was in the jump seat. Anyway, this guy apparently reached up for the handle, the T-handle, and he was looking like and saying that he was going to turn off the engines on this flight. And before he did that, he said, "No, I'm not feeling so good. I'm just not feeling good." And then went to make a grab towards turning the engines off. Well, the people who were responsible, the pilot for that flight was really, paying attention and was able to get him, away from the handle so that he didn't have the ability to turn off the engine. They had 83 passengers on board, okay? And so when the flight was diverted, I think it landed in Portland instead of Seattle. I don't know. But anyway, it turns out the guy hadn't slept. This is crazy. Hadn't slept in 40 hours. He hadn't had any sleep in 40 hours. And he said something about playing around with magic mushrooms, with psychedelic shrooms. And he wasn't feeling well. And so he wanted to turn the engines off. Oh my God. But the crazy part of that story is that he was going to the next airport where he would be flying planes. So we don't need an FAA. No, we don't need anybody to sit on that wall. We don't need anything like that. We don't need, people to police the skies or, no, we don't. So, in 22 days, we don't fund the FAA. Right? If the Republicans can't get their crap together, then we don't fund them. And they still have to go to work. Yeah, they still have to go to work. They just won't get paid. So on top of not getting any sleep, on top of having pilots that are in aircraft, at over 10,000 feet, maybe they're up there at 30,000. I don't know. It's a regional flight. We don't need to watch them on the radar. They got this. They know what they're doing. It's fine. It's fine. Just make them go to work. Don't pay them. Same thing with the military. In the midst of the world catching fire, we don't need to pay our military. We just need them to, serve. Anyway, so I'm thinking to myself, well, at least today they picked a speaker. Wow, the government's been closed for 3 weeks. They haven't been able to do any business at all. And they only had a continuing resolution for a few short, days. What was it, 30 days or something to fund the government? So it's all up for, refunding on the 17th of November. Good thing they picked a speaker after 3 weeks. Good thing. Come to find out, I looked at the congressional calendar, okay, because I wanted to see, are we, what bills are going to be introduced? Because they got so much unfinished business. They got so much they need to tend to now. My God, those committees are going to be in full, swing, and let's see who's doing what, and, they're closed. They're closed next week. They're closed. What do I mean they're closed? Well, they're calling it, when they go home, they call it a district work day. Have you ever seen your member in the district working? Because I've never seen. Listen, my member is a Democrat. I really have half a mind to run against her. I've never seen anything that. She was a mayor. She was a mayor of West Palm Beach. She did fine as the mayor. She was very vocal. She was very, development oriented. But Lois Frankel is now my Congress member. Haven't heard a peep out of her. Not a word. But, she doesn't ask me for money, so it must be coming from someplace else. Do you know what I'm saying? But they're going home. They're all going home. They're home. They're going home. Next week, no work. So that gives us 2 weeks to do all of this. 2 weeks to express solidarity with Ukraine, to express solidarity with Israel, to express... I don't know, that we want to keep our government open, to tell the world that America isn't an also-ran. It's not a has-been. It's not over, that we're still, the shining city on the hill. We're still the greatest democracy ever, conceived by man. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.